1 year ago, Dr. Christian's feeding clinic opened its doors to some of the worst dietary offenders in Britain. For the first time, we brought together in one room 8 supersizers and 8 super skinnies, whose devastating diets were wrecking their bodies.
You've got bigger boobs than I am.
Tonight, we're looking back at 3 of those diet swappers who were desperate to ditch their harmful habits for the sake of their future.
The thought of eating anything else is making me feel a little bit sick.
We're catching up with scrawny stylist Nathan Smith.
My biggest problem is having time to eat. It just is an inconvenience.
Takeaway king Chris Longley.
I'm definitely addicted to takeaway food. It's a compulsion.
And convenience queen Jo Palmer.
My love of food has been a big part of my life. It's like my best friend, but my worst enemy all at the same time.
A trip to America gave our supersizers a terrifying insight into their potential future.
If I don't change my ways, I'm not going to live much longer. That's really scary.
I could have prevented this years ago.
And the feeding clinic came as a much-needed wake-up call.
I feel quite ashamed that I actually feed my family that crap.
1 year on, we're checking in on their progress.
I definitely feel like a new man. It's like I'm not quite, but nearly half the man I used to be.
Plus, we'll be looking back at Dr. Christian's time in one of America's fattest cities.
I got out of the tub and all of a sudden I heard this crunch.
For a frightening snapshot of where us Brits are heading if we don't get a grip on our own obesity epidemic.
Do you think this problem's getting worse?
Absolutely.
One year ago, Dr. Christian travelled to the belt-busting city of Evansville, Indiana, which topped the polls in 2011 as America's fattest town. Out of the population of over 117,000, 38% of them were obese.
Do you think you're reaching crisis point with all this?
I think we're reaching a crisis level.
Reporting from the front line, Dr. Christian met the people whose lives and limbs had been devastated by obesity.
Why do you think it's such a problem in Evansville?
It's easier just to go, hold on, do that, I can go get me a burger.
And met the team whose job it is to care for them.
The heaviest patient I've lifted is 765 pounds.
Wow, well over 50 stone then.
And found out how some locals were taking the first steps towards a healthier lifestyle and seeking help through organisations like Overeaters Anonymous.
For me, cheesecake was like crack cocaine.
But for some, that addiction can be fatal. Christian's first stop in Evansville was the Pierre Funeral Home to meet a man who knows all about the ever-expanding population because he makes the biggest coffins in the United States.
Keith.
Hello.
Oh, my goodness me. It looks like a hot tub.
This is our largest casket. It's 52 inches wide. It'll hold over 1,000 pounds.
So we're talking 70, 80 plus stone. How many of these are called for?
In the 1990s,
Yeah.
this casket didn't even exist.
Right.
In 2000, we sold 12, and we're selling about 4 of this type per month.
So can I have a look inside it?
Sure.
Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Oh, golly, it's heavy. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling. And I would imagine the person that's going into this size is not very old either.
Unfortunately not. The average age for my records is around 45 years old.
God, that's shocking.
We've had caskets, large caskets, not this size, but caskets for as young as 11 years old.
I'm really distressed. When you tell me you've seen 11-year-olds, I'm lost for words. I'm really upset by that.
And supersized coffins are not just a US phenomenon. In Britain, the demand for outsized caskets has increased by an estimated 5% in the past 10 years.
We have it too easy, too much. When you go to any fast food restaurant, a standard beef patty used to be 6 ounces. Now they're 10, 12, a third of a pound of hamburger. Are you kidding me? Who needs a third of a pound of hamburger? No one. No one. We think more is better. More is not better.
Back in the UK, Dr. Christian's on a mission to make sure we don't end up like the US. For the first time ever, he's bringing together 8 supersizers and 8 super skinnies for a mass weigh-in, giving them a seismic shock before he pairs them up one by one.
Chris, come on forward. And I'm going to pair you up with Nathan.
You all right, Chris?
Hi Nathan, I'm Chris. Good. I'm a bit big, you're a bit small.
There was a huge difference between me and Chris. He made me feel a lot sort of skinnier than I've felt in the past. I'm always getting told that I should eat more pies.
You should, but you shouldn't eat as many as I do.
Single Chris weighs over 24 stone, with a bulging 64-inch waist.
I'm definitely addicted to takeaway food. It's a compulsion.
Chris's £150-a-week takeaway habit is hitting his wallet and his waistline.
Breakfast, I'll have cereal. And then on the way to work, I'll have a takeaway from a drive-through. And then I'll go to a petrol station, pick up a sandwich or a sausage roll or chocolate bars, crisps. And then I'll eat some of them on the way to work as well. But at lunchtime, I'll often go and pick up a quarter-pounder burger with fries.
And once back to his parents' place, a home-cooked meal can still be followed by more takeaway.
So this is kung po chicken in batter with egg fried rice, egg burger, ribs, prawn toast.
9 years ago, Chris weighed around 15 stone, but a breakup and a spell working abroad saw him pile on almost 10 stone.
When I look in the mirror, I see 2 or 3 times a normal person. I just feel like a blob.
Chris's dangerous diet is certainly damaging his love life, but that may be the least of his worries.
So currently I have arthritis, psoriasis, depression and hypertension, high cholesterol, and I'm worried that I'm going to get diabetes as well quite soon.
My fear is that he won't live as long as I'd like him to live.
I can't carry on, otherwise I'm going to die young.
21-year-old hairdresser Nathan Smith reckons he's simply too busy for food.
My biggest problem is having time to eat. When I am in the salon, there's no way I can stop a colour halfway through just to go and grab a bite of my sandwich. It just is an inconvenience.
As a result, meal-dodging Nathan weighs just 8 stone 5.
I do get the odd comment off a client. You're so slim, you're so tiny, why don't you eat more? Get some chips and gravy down you.
But when it comes to his daily diet, variety isn't the spice of life.
Pretty much everything I eat is quick and easy. In the morning, it will be a bowl of cereal. Then through the day, I will try and snack on a few biscuits or a bit of chocolate.
The only decent meal he has is the lunch his gran brings him every day.
What have you made me today?
Ham and cheese. I do worry. Some days I put quite a lot in the bag.
See you later.
Otherwise, it worries me that he's just not going to bother eating at all.
Back home, dinner is usually out of a packet.
I would like to eat more, but I just don't think I can possibly fit any more in my stomach.
But Nathan's now getting sick of his bony body.
My last boyfriend, he was a dancer and he had an amazing physique. I did compare myself to him a lot. It did make me realise I was a very skinny person. I felt a little bit daft, a bit more unattractive, and perhaps wasn't happy with my own body. I am only 21 years old. I want this to be the start of my life and perhaps my happiness.
Before they enter the feeding clinic, Dr. Christian is sending takeaway junkie Chris to America to meet a man even heavier than he is. And Dr. Christian will be dropping by to make sure Chris gets the wake-up call he so desperately needs.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Come on in.
Cheers, thank you.
Joe Amador is 30 years old and 32 stone. He was diagnosed with high blood pressure aged just 11, when he was already 14 stone. Since then, his weight has doubled and his body is now falling apart.
The weight gain has caused the swelling of my leg. If I cut myself, it doesn't bleed. Water comes out of the wounds.
Big Joe's got a cautionary tale to tell that might make Chris stop and think about the path he's on.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I was 25 and a half when they told me that. It's twice the size as a normal heart, and that's because of the blood pressure. You have high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Do your legs swell at all?
Yeah.
They do swell?
Yeah, quite regularly, yeah.
If I don't change my ways, I'm not going to live much longer.
That's really scary.
Yeah. It's scary. They gave me 5 more years.
I wouldn't have thought by looking at Joe that he only had 5 years to live. And when he told me that, that really, really shocked me. It really brought it home to me that that could be me.
Chris and Joe head back to the house. And right on cue, Dr. Christian pulls up outside, just as Chris is tucking into a burger.
Chris, how are you?
Dr. Christian wants to know why a man given 5 years to live is setting such a bad example.
When you were told all this, why wasn't that enough to kind of get yourself in shape and get healthy?
I've tried a lot of things. And now, I'm trying something now where addicted to soda. I switched from regular to diet, and I lost 11 pounds in 3 weeks, just from doing that.
Joe's story has been a warning for Chris.
I think it's really pushed me to think about what could happen to me in the future. I think after the last couple of days with Joe, he's got so many problems health-wise. Joe, it's been a pleasure. I don't want to be like that. And I think that's given me the motivation now to go back home and to really push it.
1 year ago, we saw takeaway addict Chris check in to Dr. Christian's feeding clinic. Joining him across the dinner table was super skinny meal dodger Nathan, who needed to put right his puny portions. At 8 stone 5, Nathan is under-eating by 1,000 calories a day, with a vitamin-deficient diet putting him at risk of skin problems and osteoporosis.
So why are you so skinny? Basically, it means you're not eating, doesn't it? And why are you not eating?
I have got quite a hectic lifestyle. I've got
like excuse number 1. Yeah.
I've got a very sociable lifestyle.
Excuse number 2. I mean, looking through at the sorts of food that you have been eating, it's spectacularly boring. It's day in, day out, exactly the same thing in a little miserable portion. And you don't enjoy food, do you?
Not particularly. I just do because it's routine, I suppose. I often wonder why I must feel quite bloated, and I do sometimes think perhaps I've just got a really small stomach.
As soon as we get you eating again, that will change.
Weighing in at 24 stone 6, Chris is eating enough for 2. But after his American adventure, is he ready to recognise where he's going wrong?
Chris. Hi. Welcome back. Thank you. To the UK.
Yep.
What do you think you took home?
Joe is the way that I don't want to be, and he started where I am about now. I don't want to die early, really. I think a lot of my time when I'm eating, I'll eat because I'm bored, or for a number of other reasons, but they're mostly emotional rather than hunger, physical hunger.
For you, food seems to be a friend.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah, it stabs you in the back pretty quick.
It does.
Chris and Nathan's dietary adventure begins with breakfast and an exchange of cereal. But while Chris is presented with a rather paltry portion, Nathan's big bowl contains a triple helping.
Well, I was going to say good luck, but I think it's...
it's you that might need it.
It's me that needs the luck. Here goes.
It's nice to eat something.
It's not long before Nathan's tiny tummy starts feeling the strain.
I am, I'm getting fuller now. I'm getting to the point where my stomach feels a bit like it's stretching a little bit, and probably going to have to leave the majority of that, really.
I think you should try and finish it. It's the first meal. Come on.
Right, OK.
If you want to put on weight, you're going to have to push it a bit, aren't you?
And breakfast doesn't end there. There's still Chris's morning snack.
This is for the way to work.
Oh, God.
And not long after, there's lunch.
I'm really jealous of that.
Well, this is my last mouthful, really, now, so, yeah, go for it.
Not quite, Nathan.
Rhubarb crumble with custard.
Smothered in custard.
I think Nathan is going to get quite moody later. I think he's going to find it really difficult to eat everything that I usually eat. He's really going to crack, I think.
And dinner is served. It's Chris's favourite meat feast pizza versus Nathan's daily dinner of pasta and sauce.
So could you eat all this?
Yeah, definitely, yeah, and some.
Really?
I'd eat the whole pizza and then have some, aside as well.
I think there's more grease in that than I've got in hair products. And I'm wearing a lot, let me tell you.
During a typical week, takeaway addict Chris can get through 30 slices of his favourite fix, at adding up to a colossal 8,340 calories a week. So Dr. Christian wants to show him the full horror of what's really lurking in his usual choice of a large meat feast.
Right, so, making a pizza, what do we start with?
The dough.
The dough, and look what I've got over here. Nice and thick. How do you get it all nice and crunchy when it comes out the oven? Masses and masses of oil all around your bready pizza crust.
Next, the fat equivalent in pure lard, which goes into the base and the meat and the cheese toppings.
So there's about half a block of animal fat.
Now sugar, which is added to the tomato sauce.
18 3/4 teaspoons of sugar in your one pizza. That's not all. 3 teaspoons of salt. That's about 15 grams. Salt tends to put people's blood pressure up. How's your blood pressure?
High.
Ah, funny that.
That's quite a shock, yeah.
Are you proud of what we've made there?
Absolutely not.
Dr. Christian wants to make sure Chris understands the strain he's putting on his body.
Nice picky up there for you. What might all this yellow, shiny stuff be?
Fat.
Fat. And within all that fat, somewhere, is a blood vessel. Nice round blood vessel. But there's something not quite right about that blood vessel, is there? It's called an atheroma. It's a result of having too much cholesterol and fat circulating around your body.
Atheromas narrow the arteries and so reduce blood flow to major organs, leading to chest pains, angina, and could eventually trigger a heart attack.
And that was really scary, actually, because I could feel that those kind of things were happening inside me, and it worries me that I'm on borrowed time almost.
Day 2 in the feeding clinic, and Chris and Nathan are continuing to challenge each other's eating habits. And lunch provides a further test.
We got chips, bread, a couple of sausages, bit of bacon, eggs, Tommy K, and some garlic bread.
For Chris, it's Nathan's solitary pack of salt and vinegar from the salon.
Bit gutted. That is more than you should have. But I can't imagine that you could actually exist on crisps at lunchtime.
Nathan's keen to put on the pounds, but he isn't facing Chris's greasy fry-up with a great deal of gusto.
The thought of eating everything else is making me feel a little bit sick.
The deal was really, though, that I eat what you eat and you eat what I eat.
But the simple fact is it's easier to eat less than it is to eat more.
So you finished then?
Yeah. Sorry.
But when Chris's dessert of pancakes and ice cream comes out, sweet-toothed Nathan seems to have found a bit of extra space from somewhere.
So when you say you're full, I expected you to be full.
There's savoury full and dessert full. I knew that dessert was coming, I just knew that dessert would come.
I just can't believe that you weren't able to finish your main meal and you've still been able to have a complete dessert. So it just makes me sort of question how full you really were.
Chris's idea of being full is completely different to me. My idea of being full is leaving that 10% for the rest of the meal, which is your dessert.
He made out like he had 2 stomachs. I think he's a cow. He's got like one stomach for savoury, one stomach for sweet. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's the final dinner, and Chris's offering would certainly be enough for 2. While he gets a reasonable helping of chicken chow mein, Nathan is presented with a terrifying takeaway selection of curry sauce, chips, 2 battered sausages, scampi, and more garlic bread.
This, to me, just looks like my worst nightmare. It just looks awful.
Maybe try a bit of the scampi and the curry sauce, if you can. That's my favourite thing.
I'm actually feeling a bit shaky. I'm scared of burping in case I feel like I'm going to be sick.
Although he struggled with the monstrous mane, Nathan rouses himself for one final push.
You know, this has probably been my hardest meal yet.
A final mouthful marks the end of a tough swap and their time in the feeding clinic. To help realise their goals, Chris and Nathan have diet plans to follow.
I'm going to go home and definitely eat a lot more than I'm used to eating. I'm definitely going to push myself.
Having the chats with Dr. Christian, seeing the disgusting things that what I'm eating is actually doing to my body was a real wake-up call for me. I want to get onto the plan and I want to change my life.
10 weeks after takeaway addict Chris and scrawny stylist Nathan left the feeding clinic, Dr. Christian has invited them back to find out if they've stuck to their healthy eating plans.
Chris, I can see straight away that there have been some big changes with you, haven't there? How have the last few months been?
I've been sticking to the diet very closely. I've been doing lots of exercise.
You had vast platefuls of food and takeaway. Have you managed to rein that in?
It was a dead stop. As soon as I started the eating plan, that was it, no more takeaways.
So tell me, how has the last few months been?
I've enjoyed cooking. I've enjoyed doing meals from scratch and not just buying a microwavable meal or...
Well, I was going to ask you about that, because your sort of specialty, really, as grand as it got, was pasta and sauce.
I can honestly say that I've not done a pasta and sauce since before I went into the feeding clinic.
Seeing you today, you do look much brighter, healthier, happier.
Time for the gents to be reunited.
Hello, mate.
You all right?
Looking good.
Thank you, you too.
Chaps, let me come in and put you out of your miseries then, shall I? Nathan, let's start with you. So weight-wise, do you think you've gained?
I'll say I'm hoping I've gained.
I can tell you, modest but important, 3 pounds.
Fabulous.
But you've put on an inch around your arms, and you've also put on an inch around your chest. So give it 6 months, you're going to be ripped. And that's going to be good. I think you're going to be very happy. So really well done. Chris, what in an ideal world would you have liked to have lost, target weight?
I was hoping for 3 stone loss.
I can tell you that you have actually only lost 3 stone. You've done it. You've done it.
Yes.
Oh, yes, you've done it. Phenomenal, huge amount of weight. You have lost 11 inches around your tummy, which is probably the most that I have yet seen in this short time.
I'm just so excited that I've done it. You can't even put it into words. When I get home, nothing's going to change. I've lost 3 stone. I've got another 7 to go, and I'm just really looking forward to having a go and carrying on.
I'm feeling pretty happy with myself, actually. 3 pounds for the size that I am is quite a lot of weight. If I can keep on doing what I've obviously been doing, I'm going to be my end goal within sort of the next year.
It's been 1 year since Supersize Chris and Super Skinny Nathan left the feeding clinic. We're dropping back in to see if their healthy lifestyles have lasted the distance. Supersize Chris arrived at the feeding clinic with a fixation for junk food.
I don't want to die early, really.
His uncontrollable feasting left him plagued with health problems. So 1 year on, how has he fared?
I was 24.5 stone, and now I weigh 19 stone. So I'm really pleased that I've managed to lose 5.5 stone. I'm really proud of myself, and I haven't actually found it that difficult. I would say now I'm happy. I feel like I can do so much more and I can be a different person.
The pizza delivery business might be suffering since Chris ditched the grease, but he's investing wisely in a healthy future.
I would usually have either a smoothie or cereal with a bit of fruit on the top. And then for lunch is sandwiches, but with salad in it or salad on the side.
When we last saw Chris, he had a devastating list of health problems. Keeping himself in good dietary shape has been just the tonic.
The acid reflux is going. I've come off some of the tablets for psoriasis and arthritis, and the hypertension is coming down as well. And that's helped me give me confidence.
Chris's newfound confidence has meant a major change in his love life too.
I've got a girlfriend, which is great. I love it, you know. It's something that I wasn't necessarily aiming for, but it's a really nice extra.
So how did these two lovebirds meet?
So I first met Jen after she contacted me on a social networking site from seeing me on the show.
I fancied Chris quite quickly. Obviously his personality really shines through, but he's not a bad-looking guy.
And this pair have a thing or two in common.
The thing that attracted me to Jen was that she'd been there as well. So she'd lost 6 stone previously. So I felt like she understood where I was coming from. Do the menu then.
Okay.
Yeah, we plan our food shopping together. So we write on the table every week. We do like a little menu which says what we're going to eat for lunch, what we're going to eat for tea. And we try and equal out the cooking and one of the other person does the washing up.
Moving in with Jen represents a new chapter in Chris's life, and he's finally enjoying his happily ever after.
I feel like I can do pretty much anything I put my mind to. I've managed to get on at work and got promotion. I'm more active. I've just got a girlfriend, which is lovely. I'm in love. I can't really ask for it to be any better than it is now.
1 year ago, scrawny stylist Nathan had a head full of excuses for his less than desirable diet when he stepped into the feeding clinic, weighing just 8 stone 5 pounds.
I have got quite a hectic lifestyle. I've got
like excuse number 1.
1 year on, has meal-dodging Nathan ditched the excuses and changed his ways?
When I was in the feeding clinic, I did have a bit of an experience with Dr. Christian where he'd said that I was making excuses.
It's another excuse. Excuse number 3.
I did disagree with him a little bit at that point, and I'd have challenged him any day to come and spend even just an hour in the salon and realise how busy it is sometimes. But I have made a conscious effort to make sure that I do try and fit food around sort of clients and work.
Food is now fixed on Nathan's daily rota.
My breakfasts tend to be pretty standard, really. I do like to just start the day with a bowl of cereal. I do tend to pre-prepare a protein shake for going with me. If I'm going to have that good couple of hours in between breakfast and lunch, I've got something to keep me going.
Nathan has parted ways with his packet pasta dinners. He's now living with his gran, and she's taken charge of dinner time.
Since, being in the feeding clinic, I've moved back home. I'm living with my grandparents. I've got my gran here to make sure that I'm having my dinner. Homemade food, you can't beat it, really, to be honest with you. There's nothing better.
And her lunch runs?
Instead of bringing my lunch to the salon, she will actually sort of make it and I will take it in myself. It's a little bit of a break for her, I suppose.
A better diet and new fitness regime mean that Nathan is weighing in at a much healthier 9 stone 2 pounds. That's 11 pounds more than when he first entered the feeding clinic.
I'd definitely say that I've got a bigger confidence in my own body. I often get asked what my ideal goal or my ideal physique could be, and a lot of the time I always used to say, I'd happily look like Tom Daly, but I'm happy to just be another half a stone on top of maybe what I am at the moment.
And it's not just a new physique that's put confidence back in his stride.
I've got myself a new little job teaching at the college. A little bit further out, that's it. Stuff like that takes confidence to do, and beforehand I probably wouldn't have had that confidence. This lady's hair for going out? Yeah. Cool, you need to last till at least 8 o'clock in the morning then, I presume. Yeah, I'd definitely say I love this job, really, yeah.
Nathan has gone from all style and no substance to dropping the excuses and fulfilling his goals.
Since leaving the feeding clinic and changing my diet, doing my workout, eating the right foods and just generally sort of looking after myself, I've been given that confidence. It's cracking.
Dr. Christian's on a mission to target the obesity crisis hitting Britain. And to learn valuable lessons, he's come to Evansville, Indiana, where almost 40% of residents are obese.
Do you think this is a losing battle?
Sometimes it feels like a losing battle.
The city's Deaconess Hospital is on the front line, treating patients suffering from the chronic effects of the obesity epidemic. Dr. Christian joins physician Dr. John Mournier on the ward.
Can I tag along and be nosy and see what
absolutely. His patient, Dennis Hamers, has weight-related high blood pressure, which has led to heart failure and pneumonia.
How are you, Dennis?
All right. I'm breathing.
Well, I've been looking around the hospital. A lot of the problems here are obesity-related. Why do you think it's such a problem in Evansville?
Our lifestyle. It's easier just to go, hold on, do that, I can go get me a burger.
Yeah.
Well, that burger's gonna clog your arteries, pal. They've made it too convenient.
You're kind of saying that, America, land of plenty, has kind of backfired on you now.
By God, I don't think I could have put it a better way.
Diet is a key factor in these medical conditions, and in Evansville there's a fast food joint on every corner. So where do you turn when your food cravings become an addiction?
When you have weight issues, admitting that you have a problem is a vital first step, and the people in this meeting are about to do just that.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Thursday evening Overeaters Anonymous meeting. My name's Chris and I'm a compulsive overeater.
Hi Chris. Welcome. Overeaters Anonymous are a global organisation supporting people who just can't control the urge to eat. And here in Evansville, things are so bad that there are 3 sessions a week.
You know, for me, cheesecake was like crack cocaine would be to a crack addict.
I ate from the time I got up in the morning until the time I went to bed.
And I proved to myself without a shadow of a doubt that if I'm left to my own devices, I'm going to eat myself to death.
Some of these stories are incredibly moving. And actually what these people have realised is it's not simply a question of being greedy. Food can be a real addiction, and it's something that science is only just getting to grips with. But these people are a long way ahead of science in realising that.
Bringing the lessons of Evansville back home, Dr. Christian helps another Supersize and Superskinny duo tackle their destructive diets.
OK, Joe, come on in. And you're going to be paired up with Emma.
Hello, Emma. You're right. And you? You really, really are thin.
It shocks me a lot seeing Jo. She's a very, very big girl.
Who wants a biscuit?
Jo Palmer from Staffordshire has her hands full looking after her 3 boys.
Share burgers.
But it's not just her hands. Her mouth is constantly full as well.
Cheesecake, pork pie, chips, crisps, cake, pizzas, donuts, ice cream, kebabs. My love of food has been a big part of my life. It's my world. It's like my best friend, but my worst enemy all at the same time. And they say, keep your enemies close.
And that's why at 27 years old, Jo is 24 stone 3 pounds.
I blame myself. It's only me that's put food in my mouth. Nobody else has forced it down me.
Jo loves food, but she hates what it's done to her.
I see a beach whale. I feel awful. I look awful. And I feel almost physically sick sometimes, looking at myself. My favourite bit of my body would probably be my eyes. I've got quite smiley eyes, and one day the rest of me might smile with it.
Before Jo enters the feeding clinic, Dr. Christian sends her stateside to meet 33 stone Diana Steed.
Come in.
Whose life has been ravaged by obesity.
Being fat makes you tired, miserable. The more fat I put on, the lazier I got.
Diana has to rely on a carer to help her with the things that most of us take for granted.
Do you have a shower every day?
Depends. Some days I do and some days I don't.
Some days she has breathing problems that she cannot get in the shower.
Yeah.
As well as breathing problems and diabetes, obesity brings with it some more unexpected side effects.
I had a hysterectomy and my hormones were off. And I asked the doctor, and he said the heavier you get, the more male comes out in you. I have a man's beard. I hate this.
Dr. Christian has arrived in Ohio to check that the message is hitting home for Jo.
Hello, how are you? Thought I'd come and surprise you here.
Thank you.
In the middle of your lunch. Hi, how are you? Diana.
Hi.
I'm Christian.
Hello, Christian.
Nice to meet you.
Dr. Christian wants to see how much medication it takes to keep Diana ticking over.
That is a lot of pills. How many?
I'd say about 25 pills a day.
We've got some blood pressure tablets. Your cholesterol's up. This is what this pill's for, to try and keep that down. You've got drugs to try and thin your blood a little bit so you don't get clots and strokes and heart attacks. I mean, not everything here is just because of her weight, but I would say most of it is, and probably all of it is in some way made worse because of her weight.
Yeah. I could have prevented this years ago.
Dr. Christian's keen to hear what Jo thinks of Diana's situation.
She doesn't have much of a life, does she?
She doesn't have any life. It's quite sad.
How do you feel about being the weight that you are?
Unhappy. Because I don't feel motivated anymore.
I think you are a bit down, and I think your self-esteem is not great. And I want to boost that up for you. You know that if you can lose the weight, you're going to be a whole load happier.
In the UK, it's time for Supersizer Jo and Super Skinny Emma to check into the feeding clinic for a 48-hour mini break. Full board.
When we were in America, we talked a little bit about sort of where these eating habits might have come from. Have you thought a bit about whether you sort of turn to food for comfort?
I think I do, and I've got this obsession of overfilling my cupboards and fridge because it weren't there when I was younger. I tend to do it now. I think I'm just scared the cupboards are going to run empty, but no, they're not going to.
They're not going to, are they?
No.
For the next 2 days, Jo's going to have to get used to an empty cupboard as she takes on Emma's almost non-existent diet. Breakfast for Jo is nothing.
I felt a bit ashamed of myself. She sat there watching me eat my breakfast and she didn't have anything. I felt really bad for her.
And lunch is a measly packet of corn puffs and a lolly.
Emma, that's ridiculous for lunch.
That's rather big for a lunch.
How do you live?
That gives me quite a lot of energy, actually, that drumstick.
It can't be good for your teeth. You're going to try your sausage roll?
I'm not a massive fan of sausage, if I'm honest.
But Jo is, along with a whole array of other processed meat. In just 1 month, she gets through 22 sausages, 44 slices of ham, 13 rashers of bacon, 9 pork pies and 9 sausage rolls. With such huge quantities come serious health risks.
Let's look at this one first. Lovely, clean, healthy intestine, nice pink colour, lots of blood supply. This, however, you can see there's a rather obvious problem there. You've got a growth, and that's a cancer. That's a bowel tumour. Anything above about 50 grams of processed meat a day will increase your risk of bowel cancer. You are having about 250 grams of processed meat a day.
Quite scary to think that could be me.
It's dinner time, and on the menu tonight, kebab and chips versus egg on toast and squash all round.
I feel sick just looking at it.
So just try your best.
Is that lamb?
Yeah.
Seeing Emma struggle, Jo has started to realise just how off-kilter her portion sizes are.
It's quite scary to think that I consume that much.
I don't think anybody would be able to finish one of those without feeling sick afterwards.
Because we eat as a family, my boys would have something like that as well, so I feel quite ashamed that I actually feed my family that crap.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't feed this to my dog.
Next day, lunchtime.
This is really nice.
This is really horrible.
And being in the feeding clinic is giving Jo the time she never normally has to focus on how she deals with her weight.
I don't tend to tell people how I feel, because I'm supposed to be the mom, so I don't really say a lot. I'll keep it all inside and then I'll go cry behind a closed door.
That's quite sad.
It is. But I try to be strong for my family, but sometimes it's too much. The last time we went out, somebody yelled abuse across the pub, shouting, "Let's pull a pig," aimed at me, and so they went home early.
I've only ever really knew you because you're such a lovely person as well.
So it's really hard.
Do you want tissue?
Thank you. It's quite hard to tell somebody that I've only just met things like that, and when I can't even tell my family.
Convenience queen Jo and fussy eater Emma have been swapping meals in the feeding clinic in the hope that seeing each other struggle with their terrible diets will help them realise what's got them to this point. It's time to dish up the last supper of their diet swap.
Nearly 2 hands.
Thank you.
Pizza, garlic bread, chips, chicken wings, onion rings and a glass of squash. Versus a packet of crisps and a black tea.
How can you live off a packet of crisps?
How can you live off this? Just looking at it, like looking at the size of it, is making me feel rather sick. Like,
I'm not asking you to eat at all, I just want you to try a bit of everything.
Oh, gonna give it a go.
Hair back.
This means business.
I'm quite disgusted in myself that I could eat all of that in one sitting. It is hard to look at.
Jo's recognition of her gargantuan portions comes in the nick of time and marks the end of her spell in the feeding clinic.
I've come to the conclusion it's okay to share, it's okay to be emotional in front of people, which is a big step for myself anyway. It's been lovely to meet you.
You too. I hope you get on all right.
And you, have a safe journey home.
Yeah, I shall see you soon.
Bye.
See you later.
It's been 9 weeks since Joe was told to take away the takeaway. Time for Dr. Christian to do the maths.
I've got really mixed emotions at the minute. On one hand, I'm really, really excited. On the other hand, I don't want to disappoint my friends, my family and myself more than anything.
Joe, hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Nice to see you again. You look very well.
Thank you.
You ate an awful lot of processed meat. Have you managed to cut down on these things?
We don't eat pork pies, we don't eat sausage rolls. We buy loads more fresh meat. We still have takeaways, but we have him once a month now as a treat.
Excellent, wow, that's really good news. And how are you feeling about yourself, your self-esteem and how you look?
I'm getting a lot of compliments, which was really hard to get used to.
Good.
Because I wouldn't say I've never had them, but I do find it strange.
But I hope you're enjoying that, no?
I'm getting used to it now.
Good, you better get used to it, because I think they're going to keep coming.
I have the little ones come up and say, oh, you look more nice, Mummy, which is the biggest compliment of all.
Yeah, of course it is.
Good. How are you? Thank you, I'm really good. You look a lot better in your face as well.
Thank you, and you look really well. You've got a skirt on for a start.
I know, I've never been seen dead in a skirt before.
I'm going to butt into this one and put you out of your miseries now and tell you your weight. And I'm going to start with you, Emma. Weight-wise, modest. I'll be honest with you. You've put on 3 pounds, but you've put on 2 inches around your middle, which is a significant amount, and I think really well done. Right, Joe, and you, 1 stone 5 pounds, okay? Which to me is excellent. I said about 2 pounds a week I wanted you to lose, so you have actually done exactly that. But more fantastically, you've lost 8 inches around your tummy.
It's brilliant. When I get home, I think my husband and kids are going to be really proud of me. I'm amazed at 8 inches, which is really good, because now my jeans fit again. I'm just taking it one dress size at a time.
One year on, it's time to see if Supersizer Joe has ditched the disastrous diet for good.
You do it. Hands, yeah, hands.
Joe used to survive on convenience food, but she's kicked the bad habits, cut back on the huge portions, and this healthy mum of 3 couldn't be happier.
Since I started losing weight, my confidence has gone up. I do find that when I go out in public now, I can hold my head up high.
Gone are the sugary cereals that were Joe's staple breakfast.
It's a lot of porridge and wholemeal stuff like bran flakes and Weetabix.
Joe's lunch used to be a fat-fueled sausage roll, ham sandwich and crisps. Healthier food and more exercise means Joe has lost several more pounds.
When I look in the mirror now, I can see the changes. I see a different person. There's no more tears.
Leaving the car and stretching the legs on the school run gives Joe a vigorating daily workout.
I used to be really tired from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. Now I get up and I know I've got a full day ahead of me, and I'm not going to have a nap in the afternoon, and I'm full of energy. I wouldn't have dreamed of doing this before. I'd have walked down and then I'd have caught the bus back up the hill, and I've done it, and I do it most days, so I'm really pleased with myself. Go on then. All the way.
And Joe's not alone in noticing the change.
Biggest change has been everything, really, everything about her. Confidence, physical appearance. You know, it's been, I would say, probably the best 12 months in one respect of her life. Very proud of Jo. She's done really well. Her determination's been absolutely fantastic, and yes, very, very impressed with her. You know, so good on you, kiddo. Well done.
I'm really happy with my new life. I'm happy that me and my husband have found each other again. I'm happy that my kids have learned about healthy eating. I think getting the confidence back and feeling a lot happier in myself, my future's bright.
tomorrow night from 8, obsessed with Star Trek. I mean, how many Spocks does one man need? Obsessive compulsive cleaners. Next tonight, how much does it cost to raise a family the size of a football team? Brand new, 16 kids and counting.